Welcome to the Blue 52 show. My name is Jacob. Thank you for being here. Again, it's been a little bit longer than I wanted to get back to another video, but here we are. If you're confused by the title and thumbnail, I thought I would go ahead and start the first episode of this series off with this name. Really what this is a power rankings. I'm going to go over each team in the NFL, give my rankings as of right now as to where I see them going into this next season. A few things that are important for me to go over to understand kind of what's happening. I don't want to take up too much time explaining it. I'll have to here since this is the first one, but going forward, I'll try my best not to. So first of all, I do have like kind of a grading scale in some ways, but here's the bigger thing is just I have the rankings and I want to talk about what I want to talk about. We're going to go over each and every positional group. Each positional group, both on offense and defense, I've given a letter grade to. A few things to understand about the letter grade. A lot of factors kind of go into it, and it's not the best way to do this at all, but it is a simple way for me to do it, and it's kind of just a good way to give my general thoughts about the position group. But I'm going to be talking about each one. I'm going to be showing some graphics on the screen as well. As I go over each positional group, I'll show some of the most, important names for each team. So let's say it's receivers. I'm not going to show and talk about every single receiver, but, the top three guys I'm definitely going to mention. Or, it's receivers, but it's more the receiving groups. So if the second receiving option on a team is a tight end, that's getting factored into the receiving room. Same with running back. If you have a running back that's extremely good out of the backfield, catching passes is a big part of the passing offense. That is included in that as well. Like the title and thumbnail says, the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion, as of right now, going into this next season, are the New England Patriots. I say we just get started and just start talking about this team, and we'll kind of figure it out along the way a little bit. So, not going to talk too much about all the specific changes that each team made, just where they're at right now. As of right now, we'll start with the coaching staff. Actually, I know that's not a positional group, but I feel like the coaching staff is important to talk about. Might be the most important thing to talk about. It's kind of one of the reasons why I do have the Patriots ranked 32nd. Now, here's the thing I need to be clear. These rankings are kind of the floor, right? It's not like I think Gerard Mayo is going to work out, which I think he will and very well could. It's not that I think he's going to work out and be a really great coach, so this coaching room is going to be a B- or whatever. No, that's not how we're doing it. As of right now, Gerard Mayo has never been a head coach at all in his life. He has no experience really calling plays, as far as I know. Yeah, he's lacking a lot of experience as a coach, so this is his first year. He was on the Patriots as a player. He finishes up his career as a football player in the NFL for the Patriots, and then immediately gets into coaching with them. So that's the thing, right? Is I do like Gerard Mayo. I do like what he brings. I like what kind of coach he is. I think he's going to fit what they are looking for. So like I was saying, that is a guy I believe in. With that being said, this still isn't a high-ranked positional group. I'll get into the rating in a second. But going from that, we'll get into the offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt was recently on the Cleveland Browns, so we can expect kind of a West-style offense from him. He's been around the block quite a bit. He's been on a lot of different teams, a good amount of different schemes as well. I'm not the most excited that this is the future of the New England Patriots. I don't think Alex Van Pelt is going to be the long-term plan for them as an offensive coordinator, but I do have some excitement to see what he can do. I think in this room, this coaching staff for these main, the big three, the head coach, OC, DC, I think he's the most established in the league, and I expect him to kind of be the front runner this year, doing his best in that regard. But again, I don't see him as some genius offensive mind that's just gonna separate himself from the league. I think what he, based off his past, what he's bringing to this offense is hopefully going to be really good. We'll talk about the quarterbacks and the rest of the team in just a second, actually. But in terms of what he's probably going to do that I'm really excited for, I think we're going to see a lot of use of play action. It's going to be a run-heavy offense, a lot of under center. We're going to get a lot of bootlegs. Whether or not you have Jacoby Brissett in there or if they are starting Drake May, either way, I like that kind of game plan they're going into. In a recent press conference with Alex Van Pelt, he was kind of saying how he's taken a lot of different things from each place he's been at. And while, he was using more of a West Coast style offense last season as the coordinator and quarterbacks coach, I'm pretty sure, for Cleveland, he's willing to do whatever they need. So I appreciate that from him. I like when coaches are like, hey, we're going to work off of our positional group and the guys we have instead of just forcing a square peg into a circle hole. Moving on from Alex Van Pelt, we have the defensive coordinator, DeMarcus Covington. He's been on the Patriots. He's been with them for a while. He's been working with the D-line a lot, which is really exciting. I don't know much about him, and again, that's kind of why I don't see this coaching staff having a really high floor, because we don't know much about them. This is his first year as a defensive coordinator at all. He's mainly, like I said, he's been a positional groups guy with D-line and stuff. So I think some special teams work as well. So I don't even have too much to say about him. I'm giving this coaching staff a D+. Ideally, I really do like Gerard Mayo, and I think he'll be the guy for them, or he very well could be. It's just, we don't know, right? And I'm going to have to play things by the ear right now. And at this point, there's just not enough info for me to give a rating bigger than that. There's also not enough info on these guys to really give a negative rating, right? Maybe on Alex Van Pelt, but I don't think he's been so atrocious that I'd feel it would be an F or anything. But we'll give a D+ for the coaching staff. That's kind of one of the things that's dragging them down a bit. So moving on, we will start with the offense, then we'll get into defense after that. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks first. This is kind of a tough situation for me. I don't know exactly who's starting right now. I don't think it's been announced. If it has, that's my bad. But I don't even think it matters too much, because I think it's going to end up being a little bit of a game time decision if they haven't already selected Jacoby Brissett. Because in my head, Jacoby Brissett is like the guaranteed who should be starting. I really prefer Jacoby Brissett to be starting this season. I like Drake May a lot. I was a lot higher on him than other people. I was in a small camp of people that thought he should have been the second overall pick. He wasn't, which was fine. But the one thing that did worry me about him going here is this team is just not in a good spot right now at all. So I'd really prefer if Jacoby Brissett is that guy up. And, I was just saying that Drake May, I saw him a little higher than other people. I think I've been seeing Jacoby Brissett better than other people have. Before the draft, before they took Drake May, they had signed Jacoby Brissett, and, we had the talks, are they going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr., blah, 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 what are they going to do? Ultimately, I think they made the right decision, but I saw way too many people saying, what are they going to do at quarterback? You can't go into this season without a quarterback. In my eyes, while you don't have the franchise guy, you have what you need this season, which is that bridge quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. I was really impressed with him in Cleveland 2 seasons ago, was it? I believe. Really impressed with him. I think he proved that he is a top 32 quarterback in the league. So while he doesn't make super impressive plays all the time, he can run an offense well. He can take care of the ball. He doesn't make a bunch of explosive plays, but he has enough athleticism to move around and maneuver the pocket. He's accurate, and I think he'll be fine for him this season. I think Jacoby Brissett is that kind of quarterback where it's like, I trust him in a disaster situation more than other quarterbacks. Of course, I trust it more than Drake May, but also, here's an example. I'd take Jacoby Brissett on the Patriots over Russell Wilson, even though I think Russell Wilson might be a little bit better player. That's my opinion on the quarterbacks. So the rating or the grade that I'll give them is a C-. I don't know where everyone else is going to stand on this. This is kind of comparative to the rest of the league, which is tough to kind of figure out. Is like, are we just ranking, am I giving a C- as in this is a C- for just general quarterbacks, or is it C- when you compare it to the rest of the league? It's kind of a mix of both. In general, it's kind of more comparative to the rest of the league. And when I look at the fact that I said Jacoby Brissett is a top 32 quarterback, in my opinion, I think he can run an offense well. I think this is a good spot for him, despite it not being a good situation. I think he's going to be okay. And then we look to the backup. I do like Drake May a lot. I don't know how well it's going to go if he has to start this season, but I am a fan of him. So yeah, C- for quarterbacks. On to running backs, which is one of the more exciting parts of this offense. A little bit about the grade with this too is I do kind of have to factor in a little bit of like, how's the offensive line? Let's say you have a really good running back, right? You have a guy that I would consider like a B+ or something. if your offensive line is completely trash, or maybe it's good but just good at pass protection and then not good in the run game, I can't quite boost up the running back that high. In this situation, and I'll talk about the offensive line in a minute, while the offensive line isn't good, one thing they are better at is the run game. They are better in the run blocking situation, so that's going to boost up the running backs a little bit. And the two guys I would focus on most are Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, he's proven that he can be a really solid number one guy. I don't think he's a game breaker. I don't think they have to keep him. But over the last couple of seasons, he's been a rock for him, and I'm a fan of him. We'll see what he does this season. In terms of, I was just talking about the offensive line, and earlier I talked about running backs being a part of the receiving room. In terms of how Ramondre Stevenson fits into the receiving core, it could be a little bit more. He could provide a little bit more there, but he is a pretty solid blocker as well. And while he doesn't provide the pass catching you'd prefer, we go into our second guy on this depth chart with the running backs, Antonio Gibson? Is it Antonio Gibbs or Gibson? It's Antonio Gibson. My bad for not even knowing this guy's name and having an opinion on him. But Antonio Gibson, he's been a little bit disappointing for me. I think, a few years ago in Washington, he had a really good rookie and second year, and then just kind of never really pieced it all together to elevate that. And to me, I look at Antonio Gibson and see him as a solid second piece, really helpful in the receiving game. Doesn't provide a whole lot more. He's okay in open space. I don't think he has the best ball carrier vision and ability to see different lanes and holes that are available. Pretty quick, good hands. So I think as a number 2, I like it. And yeah, as I mentioned, the O-line isn't particularly great, but the run blocking is the best part of this offensive line. So this group is going to get a B- for me. Ramondre Stevenson being there, being the number 1 guy, totally chill with, and Antonio Gibson is a good pairing in that too. There's a couple other guys down in the depth chart that people are going to be excited to see, hopefully within the next few years, how they develop. For right now, I think those are the two main pieces that are important to talk about, is Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson, and that's why the running back room is a B- for the Patriots. Up next to our next positional group, we have the wide receivers. This one is a big yikes, right? I mean, the Patriots, this has been their thing for a while. This has been their thing even when they were winning Super Bowls, is all their starting receivers were 5'8", 170-pound white guys that somehow ended up with 1,400 yards because they're playing with Tom Brady. So this has been a thing throughout the whole Patriots career, is not really being able to find that guy at receiver, and I still think they haven't really done it. There's just no juice on this team, and the juice and explosiveness that they do have is kind of on the back of the depth chart. So there are some guys I would like to mention extra. I know I said, I'm more worried about the 2 to 3 guys, but there are some guys in the back of the depth chart. But starting with, the number 1 guy, Kendrick Bourne. Listen, I think Kendrick Bourne is a fine 2 or 3. It should not be a 1 on any team. And I think that's what he's just going to have to be this season. Again, the Patriots are going to have to stick a guy that shouldn't be a 1 at the 1. The thing with Kendrick Bourne is he is a solid receiver and he does grind. He's a hard worker. There's just no separation with him. That's the big problem. He has an issue getting separation, kind of, same thing we see with the Patriots every year, is no one that can get separation. And here we are, Kendrick Bourne starting again. But, some of the positives with him is, snagging jump balls and just being that big body perimeter guy that can go up and get it when they need it. So there's nothing wrong with that, having that on the team, having a Kendrick Bourne or whoever. It's just, I don't like that that's the number 1 guy. It's listed on the roster as the number 1 guy, and it is probably their best receiver right now also. So I think he's going to be in that spot. Moving on to the number 2 guy. I mean, Demario Douglas was on the depth chart as number 2. I think he's really fun. Again, I don't see 1 or 2 potential with him. I see this as a 2 or 3 gimmicky kind of receiver that you toss in a few plays. He'll work in the slot. He's great there. He's very quick. He's explosive. He can get separation. But again, we're talking about someone that should be a 3 or 4. So while not a lot of explosiveness on this team, well, here's Demario Douglas, who's pretty explosive. This isn't this isn't a Malik Neighbors kind of explosive athlete. This is that third or fourth guy, and he's kind of forced to play the two. On to number 3, the rookie that they drafted in the second round this year, Jalen Polk. He's just kind of like every other receiver they've tried to roster over the last few years that isn't that quick slot guy that's small. Not a great separator, not a great athlete. He's not very explosive. I wasn't very happy with this pick. I was hoping there are a lot better options in the second round, in my opinion. I don't have anything against Jalen Polk. I was just really surprised when the Patriots took him that early, especially I think Ladd McConkey was on the board. There were plenty of other receivers I would have gone with. Jalen Polk was someone I was expecting to go in the third round, and if he went in the third round, I would have been like totally like, yeah, go get it, dude. Awesome. We'll see how it goes with Polk, what their plan is with him. Again, keep in mind, this is a completely new regime, completely new staff. A lot of the issues we've seen with the Patriots in recent years might not be the same this year. Maybe Gerard Mayo is really good at working with his young receivers and teaching them how to get separation, and the athletic program for them is really working on that explosiveness and adding some speed to these guys. And then here's some other factors in this receiving room. Hunter Henry at tight end. I think he's a solid possession tight end. He was a bright spot for them last year. He'll probably reclaim his spot again and have a solid season. I don't see him as a game changer either. I don't see him as something that can't be replicated, but it's better to have him than not. Nothing wrong with Hunter Henry as your tight end 1. It's just I wouldn't like run my offense through him, Also, we have KJ Osborne on this team. It's fine, 2 or 3. I don't really think about him too much. And then Antonio Gibson as a receiver, like I mentioned when we were talking about the running backs. I think he's a really good receiver out of the backfield. And then Tyquan Thornton. This is someone that a lot of people have given up on. I haven't quite given up on him, and one of the main reasons is that they haven't gotten that explosiveness and speed. This is one of those guys that has crazy game-breaking speed and does have some potential still. This is kind of his put up or shut up year, in my opinion. If he doesn't get it done this year, they don't find a way to use him, because that's kind of been the issue for me with Tyquan Thornton, is they just have no clue what to do with fast receivers like that. So he's interesting. And then Javon Baker is very exciting. I don't see much production from him this year, so I didn't really factor him too much into the grade here. But I'm excited to see his future. I think he's a really solid receiver. He's incredible at tracking the ball deep downfield. Good route runner. Good hands overall. He's a good athlete. He's not, crazy explosive. I don't remember what his 40 was, but he doesn't have next level speed. But I thought this was a really solid pickup for him in the 4th round. In fact, I like this pick. I like Javon Baker in the 4th round more than I like Jalen Polk early in the 2nd round like they did. But either way, they got both guys. So the receiver room for the Patriots is going to receive a D+ rating as well. I'm not sure if I said that yet. On to our next positional group, the offensive line. I'll go over all 5 of the starting guys for the most part. This is also kind of a yikes situation for them. At left tackle, we have Okorafor. He's been okay. I think he needs to clean up a lot of his penalties in just inconsistency overall. This offensive line, like I was saying, is really good at run blocking. I think that's something he could get better at, is the run blocking aspect of things, and penalties. At left guard, Cole Strange hasn't been what they've hoped for. This is another player that, to me, it's a make it or break it year, dude. Get it done this season, or they'll probably have to find someone else. I think that pick is shaping up to not look as great as they were hoping, and I'm comfortable with him starting this season, I guess. I'll just keep going here because I have a couple more issues with the offensive line. At center, David Andrews and Jake Andrews, both brothers. I believe David Andrews is the one that's been the rock for him the last decade. He's been an awesome, really consistent center for about a decade now. His brother's coming in. On the depth chart, Jake Andrews is listed ahead of him, but is questionable with injury. I imagine they're still going to end up giving the starting nod to David, the older brother, but apparently they're really wanting to work in the younger guy, Jake Andrews. So I'm fine with wanting to develop someone like that up and have, try to have more of a future there. But this all some of this stuff in terms of who should be starting kind of boils down to who's starting at quarterback, right? If Drake May's starting at quarterback, I want David Andrews in all day long. If it's Jacoby Brissett, yeah, sure, work in Jake Andrews, whatever. Moving on to right guard, we have Sidy Sow. He's been kind of impressive. I have some faith in him. He's a nasty run blocker. He has a lot of play strength. He's inconsistent in the pass game. That's what it is. I don't think he's clueless. I don't think he has no idea what he's doing in terms of pass protection. He's just very inconsistent. He's a little bit sluggish. Inside moves can beat him. Faster edges can beat him. So that's the thing with Sidy Sow. I like him as a run blocker. We'll see if he can take that next step up as a pass protector. And then at right tackle, we have Mike Onwenu. This is the best O lineman on the team, as long as we're considering that David Andrews is, he's kind of regressed a little bit at this point. Mike Onwenu is a really solid guy through and through. I think this is the bright spot on the team. The thing about offensive line is 2 or 3 pieces that aren't there can really screw up the whole thing. And for me, I look at Cole Strange, I look at the center situation with David Andrews, who, like I said, he's someone I has been a rock for him. He's coming off of an injury. He is older. So if he is starting, I still have some concerns there. And then his brother, Jake Andrews, don't know how I feel about that either. I'm concerned there. Right guard, Sidy Sow has a lot to prove. So this offensive line has a lot to prove this season overall. Onwenu will probably be that guy that we have a lot more faith in. The other big issue I have with this offensive line is there's virtually no depth. That's really making me uncomfortable that, there's no 6th guy I'm really get him in the game. Nothing like that. So if someone goes down, that's a tough situation for them. I don't know what they're really going to do. Like I was saying, the run blocking is much better than the pass blocking virtually on the whole offensive line. So with all that being said, I gave the offensive line for the New England Patriots a D+. Now we are moving on to the defense, which should be a little bit more fun and less gloom and doom than the offense was. This is a strong spot on this team for sure. And it starts up front with the D-line. I really like this D-line. In fact, I'm a little worried I may have gave too low of a grade. But, let's start with someone I really want to talk about, Christian Barmore. What a dude, man. He's gotten better every single year. His first couple of seasons, he was proving he can get after the quarterback a little bit. He has a pass rush skill set as an interior guy. That's awesome. And then this last season, we got to see him step it up a little bit in the run game in terms of run defense. He's just been better and better every year. I'm really excited for this season. That's probably going to be my breakout candidate if I had to pick one, is Christian Barmore. I could see him having a 10-sack season or something and a good amount of pressures, have some tackles for loss for sure, especially since we are seeing some people come back from injury. Speaking of which, Matthew Judon, he's back from injury. This is almost like you have to consider this in addition to the team. He missed most of last season, and he's back now. Matthew Judon's a bit old, and like I said, he is coming off of injury. I still think he's going to be performing at a high level. I still think he's going to be the type of pass rusher he has been. He hasn't taken steps back, too many steps back in his career this far. And I do see him being that still kind of dominant force as a pass rusher. He doesn't provide a whole lot in the run game. But, what do you want from him as a 30-year-old pass rusher? He's going to pass rush. That's his gig. That's his job. He'll be the face and the rock of this D-line. He's a linebacker, I get it. So he'll drop back into coverage a little bit. This maybe should have been something I clarified a bit. It says D-line. I'm just going to say D-line for every team. The Patriots kind of playing that 3-4 system where you have 3 defensive linemen and then 2 linebackers that are edge rushers. But really, you're having 4 guys every play rushing the quarterback or, trying to stop the run up front, facing an offensive lineman in some form or another. And that's kind of how I'm going to be doing this for the rest of the series. But moving on from Judon, Godshaw, I still don't really know how to say his name. He's a nose tackle for him. He boosts up the run support. I think that's his gig. He's not a guy that gets a lot of production, but that position never gets production. I don't think his PFF rating is that good, and I don't know if people know too much about him or think he is that good, but he is. He's a really solid help in the run support. Takes on a lot of double teams, which really helps out this team, both with blitzing and the rest of the guys getting one-on-ones, good matchups and stuff. So I like him at nose tackle for them. And then on your 5 tech with your left or right end, it's either going to be Dietrich Wise or Keon White. Keon White they drafted last year. Dietrich Wise has been on the team for a few seasons now. Pick your poison with these guys. I'm not sure who's going to be, for sure taking this starting spot right now, but I'm fine with either. The thing is, Dietrich Wise is a little more proven. He's had a few more seasons under his belt. We know what he is, which is just, a fine defensive end, good run support ability. He's whatever. Keon White, we could see some interesting stuff with him. I don't know. When he was drafted last season, I wasn't incredibly high on him, but I did like the fact that he went to the Patriots. I thought that was a good scheme and a good matchup for him. We'll see what he can do this season. And then the next guy, Uche. Uche's tough to kind of, recap, and maybe these last couple guys are why this isn't higher than a B. He had a great season 2 seasons ago, and then this last season, he kind of fell off, and part of me feels like it was more due to just the general debacle the Patriots had as an entire team, all that they were dealing with. And then also Matthew Judon goes down, the star pass rusher on the other side. So now he's seeing a lot more attention, right, from the offensive line. And I think that played a big factor into it. So, I think hopefully this should and could be another kind of breakout year for him. We'll see how Gerard Mayo and defensive coordinator, was it Covington, are going to work with him. And then the other nice thing about this group, not just the headliners, but also the depth pieces. Anthony Jennings stepped up last year. He was a really solid rotational kind of depth piece for them, and he's back. He might find a bigger role this season. And then Marte Mapu, they actually have listed as an outside linebacker. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe they'll kind of add his speed kind of as a pass rusher and let him drop back into coverage there. I know he's put on a little bit of weight. He, from what I know, has kind of been splitting safety and linebacker, kind of getting used like that. If they want to drop him down the line and see if he can pass rush, I'm fine with it. I like speed there. So I don't know what that means. That could be totally irrelevant, and they just had him there, and they're just going to, put him right back to keep him at safety or whatever. But just thought I would note that. So the D-line group, any of the pass rushers, guys up front that are playing run support and stuff against the bigs, that group for the Patriots is getting a B grade. On to our next positional group for the defense is going to be the linebackers, off-ball linebackers. Again, kind of similar thing. We see a few different schemes where a linebacker could be a pass rusher or he could be off-ball. I'm going to be using linebacker as a general term for anyone that, is playing that traditional off-ball Mike and weak side linebacker kind of role. Playing pass coverage and run support, you've got your gap, but you're not down on the line of scrimmage. Anyone like that is what's going into this role, and this is another spot on the team that I think is really solid. The linebacker core is great, especially when you factor in Kyle Duggar, who's been splitting, kind of been that nickel backer for them, and he's done a great job there. I think that's going to be his role for them for, the next couple seasons is as a safety. I think he's fine. I don't think he should be a full-time linebacker. I think they've kind of found that sweet spot with him where we can, make him a safety on earlier downs, and then on third down, bring him in as a linebacker. So I'm a fan of that when you factor that in. But the head of this group, positional group, is Juwan Bentley. He's a proven number 1 inside linebacker. Really good instincts. He's intelligent. He's a big thumper and run stopper. He's solid in pass coverage. I wouldn't say he's a game changer as a pass coverage guy, but I have no problem with him being your number 1 inside linebacker. And then also we have Jelani Tavai, who's coming off of a pretty stellar season. It's been a long time coming with him, but I think this is going to be a great duo, mixing him with Juwan Bentley. He's not forced to be that number one guy or anything. Juwan Bentley is kind of firmly there. Under early downs, Jelani Tavai is going to be really helpful in the run game. He's a good blitzer, really good at finding gaps and shooting through them. Big. Still good athlete overall. Like I said, it's been a long time coming for him. He's had his fair share of bad seasons, but that's kind of the thing with linebacker, is we usually see them kind of break out once they're 26, 27. It's a position that takes a lot of time to learn and really grasp, and I think Tavai has kind of gotten to that point. We'll see if he can kind of repeat that, though. And yeah, that's how I feel about the linebacking core. Not too many more names I feel like I need to address there. The linebacking core is going to just get a flat-out B. I like it. Not the best in the league, but they've got some solid depth there. They've got some interesting pieces to kind of rotate in and out as well. So, yeah, a B for the linebackers for the Patriots. And our final position group of the day, corner secondary, not just cornerbacks, because I'm including safeties in this. This is an exciting group. It is. We have Christian Gonzalez coming back. Hopefully he stays healthy. He got hurt last season kind of early, but the games he did play, he looked like everything we thought he could be, right? Incredible athlete, has all the prospects and expectations of being able to become a number one corner. Based off what we did see last year, that is what he's able to do. He's got great size, great athleticism. He's smart. His hips are like crazy. Like, his hip flexibility is awesome. How he's able to turn and rotate is fantastic. So I love Christian Gonzalez. Hopefully he does stay healthy, like I said, but assuming that he does recover from the injury and just keeps improving, I think he's pretty clearly going to be a really good corner for a while. And then after that, it's fine. It's good role pieces that I like, right? Like, we have Jonathan Jones. He's a fine too. Nothing special. I don't hate it. You know, you got to get someone in the building to play that position. I think they're fine with him being a 2. If he was your 1, kind of similar to like what I was saying with Kendrick Bourne, if he's your 1, I'm pretty upset about it. If Jones is your 2, yeah. I think you could do better. You could still upgrade it, but it's fine. And then with the third spot, kind of in the slot, we got Marcus Jones, who I think has a lot of potential. He played all over the team last season, even a little receiver, kick, punt return. He was playing corner against Devontae Adams last season and beat him downfield a few times. So he proved a lot of really good things last season and showed he has a lot of potential. I don't see this as kind of being that number one guy for obvious reasons. He's someone that should be in the slot. He's smaller, quick, fast, good instincts and everything. He makes for a perfect slot corner. So I think ideally what the Patriots will do is you have Christian Gonzalez be your 1. Marcus Jones is going to be the slot. We'll try to keep him long-term, 2 to 3 years at least. And then, you know, hopefully next season they're able to find like a number 2 they're really happy with, instead of the other Jones you have there. But like I said, that cornerback room isn't burnt toast. It's good. It's fine. And then on to safeties. I already mentioned Kyle Duggar, how he kind of splits and plays a little bit of linebacker, but he does play safety. That is his position, and I think he's good there. He's versatile. And that's similar to someone else, Jabril Peppers, who actually did play linebacker in college and a little bit when he was entering the league. At this point now, he's pretty firmly a safety, and he's a good safety at that. I mean, he's been really solid. Last year was a great year for him. In terms of backup there, I like Hawkins off the bench. And other than that, I'm not really impressed with much of the depth in the secondary. That is kind of one of the issues I have with it, with this positional group overall, is that if someone goes down, if Christian Gonzalez gets hurt again, I'm not super comfortable with they have kind of replacing and stepping up there. So I hope that isn't a problem for him down the road. But yeah, that feels like that should do it for this. I hope this video made sense. And you kind of see where I'm getting at with this. We're going to go over the rest of the 31 teams. Originally, I was planning doing like 4 to 6 per video, but I mean, looking at this one, this is already going to be a decently long video just for this one team. So we'll kind of see how it goes. Maybe next video with this, I will do 4 to 8, 4 to 6 teams and just kind of go over them quicker. But I liked having this much depth and being able to talk about it. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button and subscribe. I will try to get back to you next week. I've got a Patrick Mahomes video I'm working on, number 31 on this list. I got plenty of fun stuff I'm doing. I'm in the middle of my season. I coach at the local high school that I'm at, so I'm a little bit busy. I'm trying my best. I really want to do this. So, yeah, like I was saying, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.